not the service. I mean, who owned it? It's a big owner.
They decided
You know,
because they think it might rain. Ridiculous.
when they get so crazy and they feel they have to make the decision at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it would have been a perfectly nice night to be in the sick house.
A little. Is it time? Okay. Should I just get started?
Can.
How sweet it is to come together and sing a song in the praise of God. In מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך.
When you have a Yontif and a Shabbos coincide, there are some relatively minor liturgical changes. One of them is Kabbalat Shabbat traditionally is not recited, but we do recite the Sabbath Psalm tonight, Psalm 92, which you can find on page 42, page 42, 43.
טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך עליון, לשמך עליון. ולזמר, ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, בלילות. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. And we continue concluding the psalm at the bottom of the page. צדיק אתה מר יפרח כארז בלבנון ישגה שתולים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריקו עוד ינון בסבע דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי צורי ולא עוולת בו.
And we'll pause now, remembering with reverence the art sites of our beloved departed observed until sundown this evening, 14th day of Tishrei. Samuel Adler, Selma D. Berlin, Edith J. Kaplan, Walter Cohen, Jessica Edelson, Frida Jacobson, Ann Janet, Jack Carroll, Donald Lebowitz, Esther Miller Legume, Julius Marcon, Paul Morris, Sylvan Nussbaum, Meyer David Poland, June Sachs, Harleen Lois Simons, Sarah B. Spire, Myron J. Werba, Irvin Wilder, and Ruth Winnick. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May their righteous memories continue to bring blessing into all of our lives. Together saying to that, Amen.
Amen.
And in testimony to that solemn chain of tradition linking us one generation to the next, those in mourning or observing yahrzeit, if you please rise. Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. Page 124. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Amen. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה.
V'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imrumav huya aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
I'll ask if everyone will please rise at this time, and we'll turn back to page 50 for Baruch Hu, page 50.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated, and on page 51, continuing with responsive reading. Page 51.
O Lord, your word brings on the evening twilight, the heavens proclaim your glory.
And we, your creatures on earth, behold in wonder your endless miracles.
Help us to recognize your guiding power in distant galaxies and in our own souls.
Teach us your law of righteousness and love, so that your Spirit may govern our lives.
Source of peace, bless our worship. May our meditations find favor in your sight.
May our gratitude for your wonders lead us in love to your service.
So that like the changing seasons, the days, the nights, our lives too will proclaim your glory.
Amen. ומעביר יום ולילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב על אביב. אהבת עולם בית ישראל ישראל עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו והולך ימינו, ובהם נגד יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Page 56, 57.
והיה
And on page 57, middle of the page, reading together. Therefore, keep these words of mine in your heart and in your soul. Bind them as a sign upon your arm. Let them be a reminder above your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down at night and when you rise up in the morning. Write them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Thus your days and the days of your children will be multiplied on the land, which the Lord promised to your ancestors, for as long as the heavens remain over the earth. Page 58, 59.
ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור דבר. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 60, toward the middle of that page.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל לכאן הושיעה ושמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ובניך, וקיים לפני משה, זלינו ואמרו, זלינו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו ביד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Turning together to page 63, and again, we'll continue with responsive reading. Page 63.
Help us, O God, to lie down in peace, but teach us that peace means more than quiet.
Remind us that if we are to be at peace at night, we must take heed how we live by day.
Grant us the peace that comes from honest dealing, so that no fear of discovery will haunt our sleep.
Rid us of resentments and hatreds, which rob us of the peace we crave.
Liberate us from enslaving habits which disturb us and give us no rest.
May we inflict no pain, bring no shame, and seek no profit from another's loss.
May we so live that we can face the world with serenity and with grace.
May we feel no remorse at night for what we have done during the day.
May we lie down in peace tonight and awaken tomorrow to a richer and fuller life.
Amen.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל. יתגדל ויתקדש שמנו רבה, ועלמא דברה קידותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי כל וביום יקון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב וימלאו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבקתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
Rise memorizing together the evening Amidah for Shabbos and festivals begins on page 99. Page 99, quiet prayer.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
You may be seated, continuing on page 108.
La 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 la. ויקולו השמיים והארץ וכל זבעם ויקל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה. וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו. יבוא שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. לה 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 לה. יבוא שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, עליון, בונה שמיים וארץ. מגן אבות בדברו, מקיים מתים במאמרו. האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו. ביום שבת קודשו, כי פעם רצה להניח להם, כי פעם רצה להניח להם. לפניו לעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד מן הברכות. ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה לעמדו שני עונג, זכר למעשה וראשית. יתגדל ויתקדש שם ידברה, ילמד יוודע קירותי וימליק מלכותי בחיי כל נביאי כל נבקי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. ברכו לאל אמין כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונקמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל תלות ולבטון לכל ישראל, קדם ובהון ושמאי ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמאי וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו Amen.
The Kiddush for Festival and Shabbos Eve is on page 114. It's traditional to rise for Kiddush. We had hoped to be in the Sukkah tonight, but the terrible tornado. So those joining us at home tonight for services, I'd ask you to please rise as well.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל עם, ולא ממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה שבתות למנוחה ומועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון. את יום השבת הזה ואת יום חג הסוכות הזה, זמן שמחתנו באהבה, מקרא קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. בשבת ומועדי קודשך, באהבה ורצון, ושמחה וששון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת בישראל והזמנים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen.
May be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. It was many years ago now. I was in rabbinical school, and I had a fellowship at an organization called Klal, which is a center for Jewish leadership and learning. And there were 8 people in all of the rabbinical schools that were chosen to participate in this cohort. So it was conservative, Orthodox, Reform, Reconstructionist, 2 of each at the table. Actually, I'm going to minus 1. There was 1 Reconstructionist rabbi at the table, and there was 1 woman who was invited to the group who was a music ethnologist, and she was getting her PhD. If you don't know what that is, it's okay. I'm not sure I do either. But she always had the most interesting things to say. Sonia, I think you could describe it best. So every week we would go from wherever we were in New York City, and we would go to Midtown, and we would sit around this beautiful boardroom, and we would share ideas about sort of the future of Judaism and the present of Judaism, and we would talk about different thinkers and different rabbis and different writers, and we would have really interesting conversations. But the most interesting person always was this woman, Marilyn, who was the music ethnologist. So one day we were sitting there, and Marilyn was married to a very, very nice, non-Jewish, practicing Christian man. She was a Jewish woman who hadn't been to synagogue in decades, and they had a 2-year-old child at the time. And so now Marilyn really wanted to try to bring her child into the religious tradition, and she knew that if she wanted to do that, she needed to sort of like up her game. And so she shared each week sort of how that evolution was happening. So she said she had a really bad Yom Kippur. It was the first time we were together. She said it was a very bad Yom Kippur. We said, why? She said the family in front of her, she went to a different kind of synagogue, and the family in front of her was eating cookies. And she was like, for whatever reason, like she was deeply disturbed because she thought it was a day of fasting, and she was really nonplussed by this. So then she said she was going to go back, but she was going to go to a different synagogue, and instead she was going to go to Sukkot at this new synagogue. So in order, as I may or may not have mentioned, she's really smart, okay? So in order to be prepared to go to Sukkot at a synagogue, what she did was she studied. Like, she studied a lot. She went online, she read books, she knew everything. She went downtown to the Lower East Side, if you've ever been there. I know some people have. And she bought a lulav and an etrog, and she practiced shaking in each of the directions. She practiced the prayers, like she knew what she was doing. And she came sort of armed and ready to shul. She didn't want to risk feeling foolish. And so she showed up at shul, and she was proud. She really, I don't know if anyone's bought their own etrog or lulav here, but they're really expensive. So she bought a top of the line. Like she bought it was like a big, big yellow etrog. And she showed up at shul very, very proud with the lulav and the etrog in hand. And she went, and as it turns out, she couldn't find a single other person with a lulav or an etrog. Yeah. It happened to be Shabbat. And so on Shabbat, we actually don't use the lulav or the etrog because the idea, yeah, Rich Gurley, because the rabbis were concerned. It was actually the same idea as why we don't blow shofar on Shabbat. We don't blow shofar, right, Marcia, the sage, right? The reason that we don't blow shofar on Shabbat is because the rabbis didn't start blowing, but what they were worried about is that people were going to carry their shofar rote, their shofars, to shul, and by doing that, they were going to be carrying, which was a malacha, something that you weren't allowed to do. The same thing is true for Sukkot. The rabbis, the ancient rabbis, didn't want people carrying their lulavim and their etrogim to shul, and so we don't actually do any of the things that we typically do on Shabbat. So that is just a little bit of a warning. If you have a lulav and if you have an etrog, we're not going to do it tomorrow, but we will shake and rattle and roll on Sunday. But let's go back to Marilyn, because Marilyn was mortified. And she's like sitting there with like this big etrog and this big lulav, and like she can't make it disappear, right? Like, she like can't. And so everyone was like staring at her, and like people were like, it was really bad. And then, of course, people had to come up and tell her again and not know someone else told her. Like, it was just another bad day for Marilyn. So I was thinking about Marilyn and what I shared with her afterwards, because I could sort of feel that this was like strike two for her. Not for the Jewish people. Here was this amazing woman who was trying to jump in. But for her, it felt like two experiences had not been good ones. And so I said to her afterwards, I feel like there's a few things that you should know, and everything else is just details. So here's what I think you should know about Sukkot. The first thing is be joyful. Be joyful. And that's not always easy, right? The rabbis tell us, they command us, they instruct us, be joyful. But what if you're not in the mood to feel joy? What if you can't access joy? What if things in your life right now are really like not good and not going well, or someone that you love is hurting or suffering? The rabbis say, be joyful, and you sort of feel like, I can't. But what the rabbis actually said is that sometimes you can't, and they maybe didn't say that enough. But they also said that even if you don't feel like your life is filled with joy, try to put yourself in a state of mind to experience joy, right? So if you don't feel like dancing in the hora or in a circle, the best thing they say, Rabbi Nachman says, that you should pull yourself, like, allow someone else to pull you into that circle. Even if you want to stay on the outside because you don't feel like dancing today. If you don't feel like singing and there's a song on, force yourself to sing a little bit, right? Do the things, push yourself to just be in the moment of joy, and try to find one thing each and every day of Sukkot, if you can, that will just make you a little bit joyful, even if it's just for a moment. The second thing that I think is a really important part of Sukkot is it teaches us that you really don't need as much as you think, right? Sukkot, we leave our homes and all of our clutter and our stuff, and we go outside into this little hut that can fit almost nothing, and we take out so little, and we're sort of liberated. And sometimes, all probably except for Bernie. Do you bring your stuff, Bernie? You take it all out. Yeah, Bernie takes the whole house out. But the truth is that Bernie has a beautiful collection of cherished things. The truth is that when we go outside into the hut, we realize that our stuff actually doesn't really matter very much. And it's the people that fill that small hut with us, that sit at our table, that are people that we care for, that those are what matter most. And the third thing that I would say is don't forget to experience awe and to feel wonder in the world in which we live. And I mean that when the rain comes over Sukkot instead of going like, I'm not going to go outside now, walk outside and just say, like, what a blessing. Because for so many people, that rain is precious, right? Or go outside when the sun is shining and look up through the bamboo slats and just appreciate all of the things that God created, most of them for us. And so don't forget to experience awe in the world. And then I said to Marilyn, the rest is all commentary. Please, God, I will wish for everyone a Sukkot that is filled with joy each and every day, a Sukkot that's filled with awe and wonder each and every day, and a Sukkot that's filled with some of the people that you love. And I wish for you a Shabbat Shalom and a good Yantiv.
On page 118, Rising Together for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כאויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגול עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו והשמיים ממעל ושכינתנו זו בגבי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד עמד מלכנו וזולתו תגתו בתורתו וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד. ושמו אחד.
We'll pause now. You may be seated. Pause now, remembering with reverence the art sites of our beloved departed observed sundown this evening till sundown tomorrow evening, 15th day of Tishrei. Celia Baer, Michael Birnbaum, Rosalind Block, William F. Cohen, Babette Dalsheimer, Rose Uden, Asya Falcon, Philip Goldberg, Saul Goldsher, Goldie Ingerman, Robert Konigsberg, Eva Lapidus, Samuel Lemmel, Melvin Levy, Lillian Miller, Saul Montes, Bernard Reamer, Franklin Ring, Nat Sarah, Franya Schneidmull, Alfred Serlin, Stanley J. Yaffe, and Anita Zaslow. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May their righteous memories continue to bring blessing into all of our lives. Together saying to that, Amen. Solemn testimony to that unbroken chain of faith, those in mourning or observing yard site, if you please rise. Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. 124. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. V'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, b'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. V'yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha barechu. Leila minkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nachemata, damiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. You may be seated. Schedule of services for the remainder of the weekend. Tomorrow morning, Shacharit services beginning at 10. Tomorrow evening services at 6. Sunday services, 10 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the afternoon. Sunday, second day of Sukkot, expectation is that we'll be outside in the Weil Mandel Pavilion, in the Schultz Generations Park, and we hope the weather will cooperate, and joined by Hebrew school families for that service as well. Torah study over the weekend. Tomorrow morning, 2 study opportunities at 9 a.m., 1 online only. That's Parshat HaShavua, the weekly Torah study class, and the second Bible study opportunity, studying the book of prophets, and that is here in the Baum Boardroom, also beginning at 9. So one or the other. After this service, join us for an oneg, which will, according to this note that I have here, be held in the Weil Mandel lobby. Okay.
It's in the place.
Tough crowd, tough crowd. And we'll conclude singing together on page 16, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malkei Sharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malkei Hamlakim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Mokem Shalom, Malkei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malkei Hamlakim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Ay Barkuni LeShalom, Malkei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malkei Hamlakim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Seitkem LeShalom, Malkei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malkei Hamlakim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Seitkem LeShalom, Malkei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malkei Hamlakim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, Shalom Aleichem, Malkei Sharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malkei Hamlakim, Ay HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. Almost like it was scripted.
Okay. You're supposed to be